On today's sit down, we have the man himself, Mr. Jacque Visagie. Now, who is Jacque? Let me try and answer that question as best I can. Entrepreneur, director, filmmaker, producer of massive content. I know the best high performance coach this country has ever seen and could wish for. You have transformed so many people's lives in the way they think, in the way they act, in the way they look. Loving father, dedicated husband, and just a alpha male of note. Welcome to the show.
Bobby, thank you.
So the reason why I'm allowed to say alpha male is because I've had previous interactions with you. I've had areas in my life which you are a specialist in, and that is mental wellness, emotional wellness, as well as physical wellness. Areas in my life where I needed drastic help. I seeked you out, you came in, intervened, and you sorted me out to the point where I'm a different person after that experience. And if you don't mind, I'm just going to dive in 2 minutes of how you did it, why you did it, and at which point of my life. I always speak about people touch you at certain points when you really need them, and then you course corrected me. So if you don't mind, I'm going to jump into that quickly.
I would love to hear that.
Awesome. So 2 years ago, our company is growing. I've got this mental block in my head that when we reach 100 employees, I'm not good enough to be able to lead so many people. We're at about 70, 80 employees, and slowly but surely I'm creeping up to that 100 number. There's more branches that need to open, and I don't know how I can handle all this. So I go and do research, and I research you thoroughly. You've coached 3 billionaires, so I know you've got moral authority when it comes to the temperature, when it comes to income and entrepreneurship. You've got moral authority there. So I seek you out and I say, Jacque, I've got a problem area in my life, which is my temper and my mental block of this 100 employees. I say, awesome, I would love to spend the day with you. I don't know if you remember that. So welcome, sit in my office. You spend the whole day saying nothing. You just take notes and write stuff down, and we have lunch. We speak a little bit, and you just take notes. I'm like, okay, cool. I wonder where this is going. So you give me 2 days to process everything, and the Saturday afternoon I come to your house, and we have a 90-minute session. And that's where the mental block gets lifted, and that's where I learn about the 3 most important things that I have to say to myself. I'm a leader, I'm an enabler, and I'm kind. And the area of my life where I really needed the most help was with my temper. So, at that point, I'm sitting in an office as a dealer principal of a growing company about to reach 100 employees and about to do 200 cars a month. So I'm freaking out. I don't know what to do. Everything that comes into my office, which Jacque notices, is negative because only the problems come to me.
Yeah.
And because I haven't structured my team in the appropriate way, from the smallest to the biggest thing comes to me, and I'm just reacting with anger and reacting with negativity. I'm just throwing fire back at fire. And you teach me a trick. It's called the 90-second rule. And every time someone comes into the office, I take 90 seconds to ask them questions. That's all I do. Yeah. So, perfect example, and I've said this to you off camera, is 4 days after our session, a car gets stolen outside the dealership. Now, normally I freak out and I throw my toys around, and how did we end up here? I've put stuff in place, and I say no. 90 seconds. Where was the car stolen? Who left it there? Have we contacted the insurance company? Is there a tracker in the car? And the team answers all the questions. Say, okay, cool. Why are you here? Because we don't have the insurance guy's number so we can lodge the claim. There's the number. Cool. Left. So at that point, I'm a leader because I lead the team in a situation where they panicked. I'm an enabler.
Yes.
I enable them to do what needs to be done to course correct and fix it. And I'm kind. So I'm not shouting or fighting with anyone. And I feel proud of that moment, and everybody's like, that just happened. Is that Bobby? So that's the story that I wanted to tell the audience about our experience and how you course corrected me as a business person, and how breathing techniques. Sorry, I forgot about that. How being present is about controlling your breathing, because your breath, when you start hyperventilating, your mind is off. If you control your breathing and slow it down, everything makes sense. But we'll get into that.
But that is exactly what I teach when it comes to high performance, Bobby, because being present in the moment and not reacting, but rather responding to what's happening, stepping out of it, unemotionally stepping back and asking yourself, okay, who am I? Who do I want to be? Because remember, reacting, you're only going to be reacting on or reacting in a way based on everything you already know.
Yeah.
But you are trying to be better than you were yesterday. And you have those anchor words. I want to be a leader. I want to be kind, and all those anchor words. So in that moment, understanding who is it that I'm working towards and responding out of that consciousness, out of that future self, bringing that to the present moment and being in the moment and responding rather than reacting. And the other thing you touched on was breath work. Now, I absolutely love breath work.
It's so good.
You can literally create the energy that you want. Like one of the people I really look up to and I've learned from quite a lot, one of the biggest coaches in the world. This guy has coached Oprah, Brendan Burchard. He loves saying an energy plant creates energy.
Okay.
And that's how you should be. You should be the energy plant. You should create the energy that you want to put out there. So if someone comes into your office and you've got a stinky energy, like you best level up.
Yeah.
You best be present. You best step back, take 90 seconds and ask yourself, who do I want to be?
Enabler, leader, and kind.
There you go.
So,
and then act from that and create
self,
that energy.
The future self is what you're chasing. And, my team always says, yeah, that's Bobby. I always say that. I learned it from you. The Bobby at 100 employees, or at 80 at that point when we met, is a different Bobby to the Bobby today at 224.
Absolutely.
And the Bobby at 80 read probably in the region of 300 books less than the Bobby here today.
Beautiful.
So and I know taking this company from 450 cars that we're doing now on average will require a different Bobby to go past even 500.
That's a beautiful awareness. Understanding that it's an ever-evolving process, getting to know yourself, evolving yourself. It never stops. So that is a beautiful point that you just touched on.
Thank you very much. So I want to dive back into a 17-year-old version of Jacque.
The interview.
Yeah,
Okay,
let's
go.
do it. So close your eyes, you're 17. You still have like 1.65% body fat, if that much, at 17. Like, what are you thinking about? What's your priorities? What motivates you? What scares you? Who are you at 17?
Well, when you asked me to do this interview, in the beginning I thought, this is going to be so much fun. And over the last 2 days, I really started thinking about what you possibly could ask. And I saw some of the previous interviews and I saw this question coming.
I love the question.
And the cool answer would be, I was thinking about girls and cars and university and what I was going to do with my life. But the truth is, I decided to come into this interview, and if you ask that question, to be seriously honest, because that is what I teach people, that self-awareness, to be truthful to who you really are. For me at 17, it was about survival, and not surviving at that stage of my life, but also independence, getting out of the situation I was in. Because I come from a home, I did not come from a very, stereotypically happy home. There was severe abuse, there was severe emotional abuse, there was severe physical abuse, sexual abuse. It was a very tumultuous, if I can use that word, kind of upbringing. So for me at 17, I did not think about girls and cars. I thought about getting out
of the situation.
And when I was 18, I didn't even write I just wrote my final exam. I didn't even wait for the next year. I immediately packed my bags, got on a plane, went to London. Because I was trying to, I don't want to say find myself, but find value in myself. And kind of be my own man, kind of take care of myself as early as possible. So for me, at 17 is about finding my independence, getting away, trying to discover how I can be of value to the world. And it actually started, if I look at that theme of independence and standing on your own feet, it actually started much younger. My parents now sometimes joke, they say I raised myself. They never knew where I was. I was always doing something on my bike somewhere, sleeping under the bed, doing whatever, playing on my own. I raised myself because I was striving for that independence from a very, very young age. I started my own business when I was like 5. I sold bunnies. Horrible business because
Live bunnies.
Because I got 2 bunnies, and the thing about bunnies is they become a lot of bunnies very quickly.
Yeah, they reproduce at scale.
There you go. And the first bunny I sold for $5. Like after I sold that bunny, I started crying. Like, no, give me my bunny back. Take your $5. Like,
No, I can't.
Like, I can't sell this bunny. At that stage, I had like 20 bunnies, and so I realized selling bunnies was probably not the best business for me. But it also, a beautiful lesson late in life when I look back on that situation is some things are worth more than money.
Absolutely. I fully agree.
And that bunny, the love I had for that bunny, whatever it was at 5, was worth more than the
£5.
So that was a beautiful lesson. And then more businesses as I grew older. I started waitering when I was 12, 13.
That's a rough job in the sense that your need to serve needs to be so high, and your survival is the perfect word, because you don't have a big income there, and you're not serving a repetitive customer, you're serving new people the whole time, different personalities. Many friends, I never waited, but many of my friends did, and I think that's a job that almost every young person needs to do, to realize how humble you need to become in life. Am I right or wrong in saying that? I'm assuming that.
It's a very tough job. For me, when I started, I said waiting, but I actually started cleaning tables.
Okay.
I didn't really wait. I was too young. You legally can't work at that age.
Yeah.
But that was also when I met my first mentor in life. And I will never forget this man. His name is Mario. He owned Al Matador in Secunda. And Alvin's...
Yeah, Alvin also came from Secunda.
Actually, I thought, do I know him? But I started cleaning tables. And it was a Greek guy. He took such good care of himself. And he had one of the most beautiful girlfriends, or I can't remember if it was girlfriend or his wife at that stage, but she was just beautiful. And when she walked in, that whole place just...
She had a presence.
She had such a presence, but it was because of the way he took care of her. And that was the first time I had a mentor that when I went there and all the waiters worked for the day, he would make sure that I get my fee.
Beautiful.
Like little Jacque gets paid first.
Beautiful.
And he took care of his people, and when he came into the restaurant, the respect people had for him.
Because he took care of the people. That's the most important.
And he wasn't an easy guy. I don't think Greeks are easy people, but
I think successful entrepreneurs are never easy if they're successful, because the standards are high.
Yeah,
then it can't be
they are
easy.
super respectful, and they really get people in a way. And this guy really got people in a way that when I look back now, I never realized what a big impact he had in my life until long after that. When I started looking back, I realized,
embedded.
Wow, this guy was my first mentor. I looked at him and said, look, that's what a man should be.
I need to model after this person.
Yeah, at that stage of my life, that was my first mentor, because he took care of the people around him, because he also took care of himself.
Yeah.
He didn't put himself last.
So I mean, if people don't know this, you've transformed the way, take Dozi, for example.
Yeah.
When you worked with him, when I saw that photo of you and Dozi, he is ripped. This man is in his 50s. How old is he? In his 50s?
He's about, I think he's 55, right?
55.
Yeah. He looks amazing.
He still
I
does.
saw him a week ago. He looks amazing.
Kurt Darren, the transformation that you helped him go through there is unbelievable. You know, and there's hundreds of examples like that. Like, how does that young boy at 17 finding the independence that he longs for transform into the alpha male that sits next to me? So how does that journey take place?
First of all, I don't like. I love the compliment, but I never set out to become, like you said, an alpha male. I don't think that is a conscious choice anyone makes. You just kind of do the best you can. But that idea of independence, like, it really pushed me in ways that I never, like, over the last couple of days before this interview, I really thought about it as well. And that independence, striving to be your own man, taking care of yourself, taking care of the people around you, really pushed me to become the man that I am today. And I remember the first time I originally studied film. I didn't study wellness. I studied film, and I was in a situation, now you must understand this, you're in a school situation, university situation, there's 20 people in your team, you want to be this, Hollywood director, right? So you've got this massive vision, you've got 1.5 minute of film that you need to make, which is going to suck,
Naturally, because you're still getting into
learning.
it. Yeah.
But now you're in a situation where there's 20 people and you are dependent on everyone coming to the table.
Yeah.
And these aren't people that are in real life focused and wants to do this. Some of these people are not even going to be there in 6 months because they're going to fail. They don't really want to be there. Their parents paid for them to be there.
Yeah.
And you are saddled with those people and you've got this massive vision. So it was an incredibly frustrating process for me to actually go through university.
Understand why.
And because of my personality and the things that really drove me at that stage.
You're competitive and you want to
Extremely.
leave everything on the table. There's nothing
Yes.
that's in
Yes.
it, nothing in the tank.
Yeah, that is 100%. But at the end, when I did my honors degree, even though we got awards, even though my productions did well, even though it was such a fight, because I was working with people who did not necessarily want it to be there, I decided at that stage that, like, I don't want to do this for the rest of my life. I don't want to do this for the rest of my life. And that led me to my father-in-law. Like, I met Carla, my wife now, at that stage, my girlfriend, and I started working for him by accident because I was hanging around the house, not having anything to do because I didn't want to do what I studied.
Yeah, you were a little bit, I wouldn't say lost, a little bit discouraged because of the team that you fell into. And there's I think there's thousands of people that are going to watch this that are currently in a team where it's discouraging, because if I'm very passionate, I'm super competitive. I want to go out there and I want to compete, and I want to, when we have a sit down and we have a coffee together, I love people. But when it's game time, I want to kill you.
Yes, absolutely.
You shouldn't even be close to me. That's how far I want to beat you.
Yeah.
But if the team doesn't share that spirit, it's very discouraging. I've been in teams like that.
Absolutely.
So then you started working for your father-in-law.
And
I've had
he
the
had
honor to
this-
meet him. He's another alpha male, definitely.
Yeah, he used to intimidate me quite a bit with his alpha maleness.
I think he still does. He intimidates me.
Like, here's my father-in-law. He still scares the hell out
It's
of me.
his job,
That's
yes.
his job. But he had this saying, and he said, "Is it possible? Can I make it happen? Do I have control?" And
Wow.
the first time he said
Is it possible? Can I make it happen?
do I have control? And the first time I heard that, like, I played that off on my experience I had up to that point. And it was like, of course I would have been frustrated. I had no control.
No
It was
control.
not, like, the success of this project was not just
No.
on me.
No.
So from that point on, and that is also principles that Kaizen Wellness and the businesses I've had is based on, is I teach people to make it possible for themselves, to take control for themselves. And it's possible, do I have control? And he also adds, and is it illegal? Is it legal? You shouldn't do anything that is
Just
not
because
legal.
it's possible, it doesn't
Doesn't
make
make
it
it-
legal.
yeah, it has to
Okay,
be legal.
makes sense.
So that whole idea of becoming independent from a very young age, taking care of myself, taking care of the people around me, is it possible? Can I make it happen? Do I have control? All of those things, kind of looking back now, everything had to have happened for me to get to a position where people, like, I love when people talk about me, they say, he's a teacher, he's a coach, he's an like you said, an enabler. But what I do is I help you kind of go through a process of getting to know yourself
100%.
better, if that makes sense.
100%.
You spoke about the bit of the previous topic now, but you spoke about the billionaires I've coached.
Yeah.
And then I'm not a billionaire. You know, the first billionaire I've coached, like, I don't know if the people out there have had access to a lot of billionaires, but they don't usually contact you directly. It's the PA of the PA of the PA
There's
sending
a lot
an
of stop
email.
streets, yeah.
There you go.
100%.
And if I can just quickly elaborate on that, the PA contacted me about this. I'm not going to mention his name, about this billionaire wanting my help in a specific area, and I was completely blown out of the water. Like, someone so successful would contact me. What value could I add? Like, am I good enough to, you know, coach this person? What am I going to? What can I teach him? You know, like, I would love to go because he can probably teach me.
Yeah, absolutely.
A
There's
lot
going to
more.
be an unfair exchange in
It's
your
going to be
point
a
of view.
hugely unfair exchange.
But maybe not.
At that stage, and that's what I thought. And when I went to this guy's house, we met at his office, and I was actually quite cocky at that stage, slightly younger, and I sat at his desk in front of him, and he said, "Okay, cool, I love this, let's do that. Here's my PA's number, so you've got access to my PA, not my PA's PA." And at that moment, I stood up and I said, "Well, then we're not going to do this." I was like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Then I'm not going to coach your PA.
I'm here for you.
I'm here for you." So if you,
What was the reaction?
like, he looked at me and he said, "Okay, give my number to him."
Beautiful. Because
That's it.
I don't think a lot of people speak to him that way, do they?
This is one of the most humble people I've ever met.
Okay.
And I don't know.
I don't
But
think so.
at that moment, I had to be honest about how I could help this person. It wasn't about me anymore. It wasn't about my insecurities, about how I could add value to this person's life.
100%.
And I knew that I would not be able to impact his life in the way that he wanted me to if I had to work through someone.
Agreed.
So for me to do the job that I'm there to do, I
needed
had
to
to
be
be
this.
able to work with him.
Okay.
If that makes sense. And that led me to invite me to his house, and I sat in his house, and we spoke about a lot of things, like me and you also did, and it came down to speaking about fees, and I said, "You know, like, you're the first billionaire that I'm coaching. I would do this for free. I feel this is a very unfair exchange."
What did he say?
Because I want to learn so much from you.
Yeah.
And he looked at me, and he gave an answer I honestly, to this day, did not expect. He said, "Don't do that.
Yeah.
Don't do that." He said, "You aren't here because of what I can do for you. You are here because I recognize what you could do for me."
100%. The value that you can bring.
Yes. And in that moment, I was like, "Oh, okay, I get it."
And I just want to touch on that. I've had the pleasure of interacting with a self-made billionaire in a almost like a friendly type of a way, and he's all about, what can I do for you, Bobby?
Yeah.
Like, there's 17 things that I can do for you, sir. Like, I really want to do these 17 things for you and add value in this area, because my temperature, I always speak of temperature, like, my temperature in this certain area is so high. I know it's higher than yours.
Yes.
And your temperature in making money and leading teams it's just next level. He says, "Thank you. I really appreciate, this part that you bring, but these are the 5 or 6 things that I can do for you that overpower this by so much. And thank you for this. Here's an exchange." And I think that's what
Beautiful.
a billionaire doesn't do anything for money, but recognizes the importance of money, and your time costs money.
Absolutely, yeah.
You being there, you can't do it for free, even though he's going to, now in my opinion, this is how I'm thinking, now he's going to do even more for you than you could have ever dreamed for. Am I right or wrong?
Like, just that exchange, and that one piece of advice he gave me, he said, "Don't put yourself under me.
Okay.
Like, you are not here. You are here because I recognize what you could do for me."
Don't put yourself under me.
Under me.
I love that.
Like,
Humble.
in this situation, you are here to teach me. You are here to help me find a better balance in my life. You are here to do this for me, and I will pay you because I believe you're the best at what you do, because I've researched you. And
Just
in
like I
that
did.
moment, I realized, wow, like that made me feel like I I sat up a bit
Yeah.
taller, and I felt amazing. I felt, and I think that's what everyone really wants. And people want to feel seen. They want to feel heard. They want to feel they matter.
Of course.
And if you can make someone realize that they actually do matter, and that's also what we teach at Kaizen Wellness, and what I teach, self-awareness around the value that you can bring to other people, buying into yourself, fully buying into yourself, 100% being yourself, and developing yourself because you matter.
Of course you do.
And
no one else matters. It all starts with you. It literally does. If I'm unhappy, there is no way I can add happiness or value to the people around me.
Absolutely not, no.
100. You touched on I love this word, balance. Do you mind? Are we
Let's
going to
go
get
for
into the balance discussion? So I lead a team of 224 people. I probably directly lead about 8-9 people, call it 9 people, where we have the balance discussion, and everybody says, Bobby, I don't have balance, because how do you do it? You've got no balance. You come here at 6:30, you leave, we're recording content until 9 o'clock, but I'll give you my take on balance, and maybe we can play off that. The time when I spend with my wife, be it a half an hour, 15 minutes, or an hour, my balance is giving her 100% of me at that point in time, only to her.
Yeah.
Or the person sitting in front of me, or the team that I'm speaking to. That for me is balance. The 8 to 5 and spending 3 hours of Netflix with your family, that's not balance to me. How do you feel about the subject?
When you've been around the block in terms of coaching people and helping people get balance, it's like the pursuit to happiness. It's the pursuit to balance. It's a pursuit, first of all, because you're ever evolving. You're always growing. Things are always changing. Suddenly there's COVID. Like, who would have thought 2 years ago? But things are constantly changing. So from my perspective, step one, you go, I want to find balance. Step two is you've been around the block. Life has knocked you off your feet a few times. You've gotten a few clapper. You go like, there's no such thing as balance.
No.
I'm going to excel at this one thing, and I'm going to drop the ball in the other areas, and you do well in specific areas. But then you get to a stage where you go like, am I happy? Like, is this what I want to do?
So balance is happiness.
I'll
Part
get to
of
that.
balance is happiness.
Absolutely. So for me, what I teach people, then you go around the block a few more times, you realize there is such thing as balance. Someone saying there's no such thing as balance don't understand what balance is, because they equate balance to time, like 24 hours.
Yeah.
Like you should spend 2 hours, 2 hours, 2 hours. That's balance.
not balance.
That is not balance. That is just a very unproductive day.
So just sorry to interrupt you. Don't equate balance to time. I think
No, absolutely not.
I think that's so important. If you equate balance to time, will it lead to happiness? And I think for the viewers watching there, the answer deep down is no.
It could. But then you have to go one step back. But I know what you mean. You have to go one step back, and that's also, again, I geek out about this stuff because this is what I do.
Yeah.
Is you have to have the self-awareness around who you are and what you want and where you want to go to. And if you know that you want these things in these areas, and these are the things that's going to make you happen, then you can ask yourself, how do I get there?
Yeah.
Oh, I need to spend 5 hours here per day, 1 hour there per day. And then at the end of the day, you ask yourself, by reflecting on your day, like constantly reflecting, daily, weekly, monthly, yearly, and asking yourself, am I happy with my performance in these areas? Am I hitting every area in the way that I want to? Am I becoming the person that I want to be? That's balance. Because if you focus in every area to the point where you are happy with the work you've done in that area, that is balance. And if you get to a stage where you go, I'm no longer happy with this specific area, then work on it. And then that shifts and it grows. But it's a pursuit.
A pursuit, but I think a foundation on that is a lot of people don't know what they want.
Oh, Bobby, I promise you, this is one of the coaching questions I start with.
What do you want? Who do you want to be?
What do you want?
Who do you want to be?
Just what do you want? I've rarely met someone that don't go on in like 20 minutes rambling around what they want. Like,
There's no clear vision.
There's no clear vision. And if you don't know with 100% clarity what you want,
You can't get there.
how the hell are you going to get there?
It's like driving to your house at night from Cape Town if you live in Pretoria.
You don't know where you're going.
You don't know where
You
you're
don't know
going.
where you're going.
You need the lights on.
So you have to know what you want. And then, equally, if not more important, why you want it.
Because that's going to be your driver. That's going to be the fuel.
That's
That's
gonna
why
be
you
fuel.
wake up early in the morning.
Absolutely.
So I think your destination and your why are going to lead you to allocating enough time
Beautiful.
and enough sweat equity
Yeah.
to get to happiness.
Absolutely. And then to fail fast if you realize, oh, shit, this is not
Fail
what I want.
fast and fail forward.
Fail fast. Stop doing what you're doing if it doesn't make you
Course
happy.
correct.
Of course, correct.
There's a difference between pursuing a goal and fighting a mission and then just banging your head against the wall. If we take on a new challenge, and you know, I've learned it from Vince, you know, our mutual friend, and he always says, I'm going to fail at a marketing campaign 3 times.
Yeah.
So if I fail the first time, it's not necessarily it's a bad campaign. I'm going to fail second time, third time. If that campaign fails, then we put it to the side. We don't continuously do something that doesn't work, but we also don't stop pursuing something that if you go into a subject, you obviously believe in it.
Yeah.
So if you fail fast, once, twice, 3 times, boom, put it aside, let's go. What's the new thing?
Beautiful.
And people will like fail continuously because eventually it should work and it simply doesn't.
Yeah.
Once, twice, 3 times, course correct, let's go. What's the next thing?
Because if you keep on doing the same thing and it keeps on failing, like you're not learning.
You're not
growing.
learning.
But I just remembered, like I get so excited with talks like this. What I wanted to say is, if you have the self-awareness around what you want and what is right for you, and you're willing to adjust as you go on, that's when you start moving forward. That's when you start finding that balance. That's when you start reflecting, and you have to reflect on a daily basis. A lot of people have things like gratitude in their lives. They're like, what am I grateful for? That's great. I think it's a great place to start, to have gratitude in your life at the end of the day, saying like, oh, thank you for this and thank you for that and thank you, and it's a great place to start.
I've got a theory about gratitude. I like to start my day with gratitude rather than end it. I don't mind ending the day with failure and you know, these are the 5 areas where we can improve. I'm still thankful for the opportunity that I failed today, but start very early. I wake up, I'm grateful for the 10 people I really love in my life.
Beautiful.
They're alive, they're healthy, and I'm thankful for this. I'm thankful for the business. I'm thankful for an awesome team, and I'm thankful for the problem that I'm about to face, big or small, because that problem teaches me how to get to the next version of me.
There you go. But it's not
what I'm
enough to
thankful for.
just. One of the things I also teach people is it's not enough just to be thankful at the end of the day or at the beginning of the day. You have to have a gratitude practice. And there's a big difference between gratitude and practice. Because a practice is about someone consciously writing down or reciting or doing something even on the sucky days.
Yeah.
It's easy to be grateful when things are going well.
Very.
It's very tough to be grateful when your whole world is busy exploding and everything's on fire. But that's when a gratitude practice saves you, because you daily have these things in place because you choose to live consciously. And that's also, I think we started this chat about this, also a point I wanted to touch on, is a lot of people, when you tell them these things, and they're like, I don't want to live like that, consciously thinking about what I'm going to do, what I'm going to say, how I'm going to react, how I'm going to respond, what tomorrow. And then I ask them, like, why?
Why wouldn't you live like that?
Why wouldn't you want to live like that? Why would you want to be on autopilot and then go, oh, my life is so tough? Like, this most successful people I know, including you, including a lot of the celebrities or the sports stars or people I've worked with, consciously ask themselves, how can I be more present? How can I be more conscious? How can I be in the moment and be fully myself and bring
100%.
everything I can to this moment? So having practices in place, like a gratitude practice, a training practice, setting goals, and also on goal setting, a lot of people set goals. It's more like I'm setting a wish. Like goal setting shouldn't be setting a wish. Goal setting, if you know who you are, is committing. You commit to a specific.
There's no way out.
There's no, like, the only way out would be if you get halfway, then you go like, okay, that's not what I thought it was. That's not what I want. Course correct. And it's important to course correct, because imagine if you want to become the biggest car salesman there ever was, and then you get to that point and you go, I hate my life.
You have to
I wanted to be a pilot.
Yeah, you have to
course correct. And that's why I said it's an ever-evolving process. And that is why getting a coach like me, and that's why I could work with a billionaire, is because it's not about me teaching him how to make money.
No.
It's about me using an actual proven curriculum, holding up a mirror, and having him become accountable to his tomorrow self, to his 10 years from now self, to his 20 years from now self. And I promise you can't win you.
No. No, you can't.
Does it make sense? Like, you can only learn from you. And that process starts from within. And
touching on that, it's something that you taught me that I still use every day. On having an actual process of gratitude and going into a certain situation, which is, I won't say sensitive, but important. So coming home, I've got a ritual. The moment I leave the dealership, doesn't matter what time it is, I phone people. So that's my thing. In the car, I'm phoning people. I'm using AirPods, so I'm not driving and phoning people while I'm driving. So I'm calling people. Where did you fail? How can we improve this? There's a big fire that's gonna burst tomorrow morning. Pay attention here. I saw this salesperson is not engaged. So I'm constantly speaking to the 7-8 people that I lead directly. I get into my driveway, I switch off my car, and for 2 minutes, I'm asking myself, what version of Bobby does my wife deserve in the next 5 minutes? So I'm sorry we sort of went back into the conversation, but the version of Bobby that my wife deserves isn't the one that burst through the door and said, these are the 15 people that pissed me off today, and there's a big problem here coming, because why am I bringing negative energy? And going back to Vince again, that's the first thing I think about when I transfer a problem. Am I dumping negative energy on you, or are we having a debate, opposing opinion, and then get to the truth? Yes. And what version of Bobby does my wife deserve? Yeah. She needs to have the leader, enabler, and kind. Yeah. How are you? How was your day? I'm very excited to be home. Let's have a 10 or 15 minute conversation. That there has course corrected my marriage as well. So I really am thankful for something
as simple as that.
It's not simple. It might sound simple to people, but it's so
absolutely.
It's so crucial. So
it's the small things, Bobby, and it's not just about what husband does my wife deserve. It is also knowing yourself enough to know what matters.
Of course.
What really matters. Because remember, you selling cars, your business growing, that's amazing. But at the cost of what?
Yeah.
And that is why we spoke about balance as well, is you need to be able to hit all the marks in 100%. All the different areas of your life in the way that makes you happy.
100%.
In the way that makes your family absolutely thrive, not just financially, but physically, emotionally, mentally.
100%.
Take everyone forward. So you need to understand what really matters. And you bursting into that door at the end of the night, saying like, this guy did this, the car was stolen, a horrible day,
That's not growing that part of my life.
That's the game.
Yeah, 100%.
That's the game. You are blessed to be able to experience the game.
Business is a game.
Business is a game. It shouldn't be taken, like I'm saying this tongue in cheek, but it shouldn't always be taken that seriously. You 100%. Need to know what matters.
And you need to know what the rules are. You
Of
need
course,
to know what
because
the
you can
rules
win
are.
at that game
100%.
if you understand the rules.
100%.
And I
100%.
mean, you obviously know the rules of your game. That's why you are so successful with what you do.
I think knowing the rules, understanding the rules, and then playing the game by the rules. So you can be competitive as long as you are ethical. You can push the boundary. So
Yes.
you don't need to break the rules, but you can push the boundary
No.
as long as you stay ethical. And at night the game ends, and you're at home, you're with your wife. What version of yourself are you giving to your wife or your family if you're not married? The kids. What are the kids getting out of you at 8 o'clock at night when you had a rough day? It's very important. Now, COVID. I don't like talking about it, but it's something that's not going away anytime soon, and it's on everybody's lips. What lesson can you perhaps share with the audience, coming out of COVID? What did you learn in that whole, I don't know what else to call it, whole like craziness?
First of all, yes, I would love for us to actually come out of it.
Yeah, yeah. I think eventually we will. We're very close to coming out.
I hope so. COVID, there's a lot of different things I've learned. One of the first things I've learned is how quickly life can change.
Lockdown.
Are you kidding me? Like, if I told you 3 years ago this was coming, are you like closing down everything?
No.
Like around the world?
The whole
like,
planet.
Closing down the planet? That would never happen. And it happened. My father-in-law, Hannes, he actually, I was very thankful for him at that stage, because we took a step back. It was like, okay, what's going on? Let's just take a step back. And he always preaches, have enough money, besides your income and your investments and all those things, have enough money so that
Safety
when
net.
something crazy happens, you can survive for 6 months or a year or even 2, or whatever you're comfortable with. And I never got that. I was like, no, put that into the investment, put that into another property, put that in. It's like, no, that's your
Safety
just
net.
keep it there. And we were blessed enough, because Kaizen's been online for the last 10, 11 years. We didn't do a transition onto an online platform.
Your
We were
business
there.
is an online platform.
Yes, and the reason for it is, again, is it possible? Can I make it happen? Do I have control? I wanted to empower people within their own environment.
Yeah.
I wanted to teach them to become self-sufficient with their physical, mental, emotional habits within their own environment. Not come to me, do great, go back to their environment, and then.
But I think
they can't
COVID
maintain
accelerated that need 10x, because all of a sudden we couldn't get the emotional happiness that we got at work, because some people get that at work. We couldn't get the physical, the gyms were closed. So that accelerated it. So,
Absolutely.
so I think the amount of people that needed you at that point was 10x. Am I correct in saying that?
I stepped back
Okay.
at that stage. Again, I was happy, because then I saw people, even like sports people, very influential people, celebrities, lose everything, their house, because everything was built on a stack of cards, debt and
A
for the
lifestyle
first
maintaining
time-
income
For the
strategy.
first time, I looked at my father-in-law and I was like, I get it.
You're
Like,
right.
I get it. You were right. Like, we were blessed enough not to have needed that, because we were already online. But one of the things I've learned, and what I teach people now, is like, life is unpredictable. This could happen.
Yeah.
So make sure that you are prepared for
This
these
could
things.
happen again.
This could happen again.
This will
That's one of
happen
the
again.
first things
100%.
I've learned. And the second thing that I've learned is, or the second thing that happened, talking about this whole process being going much faster, going online. Like, we were online already, but the way people digest content, the way people want to be helped, changed dramatically.
Yeah.
Because now suddenly people, like when we started 10 years ago, my question was, I want to be free. I want to be independent. I want to be in control of my own time. I don't want to teach people by making them dependent on my time. And that's
Okay.
why I was never a trainer. When I did my first course as a trainer, I was in my first lesson. The lecturer came in and he said, you know what, let's be honest. You will be dependent on people coming back to you. I was like, I'm listening.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, so if you can get someone results in 6 months, stretch it over a year. You'll make a lot more money. And with everything I knew at that stage, striving for that independence, striving to be my own man, striving to take care of myself, my father-in-law teaching people, educating people, empowering people, like, I will not do that. I will not do that. I will take everything I learn, everything I know, and I will present it in a way that you can make it yours in your own environment. You can make it happen. It's possible for you. You've got control. And I felt if I could teach people how to become successful in that area of their life at that stage in a way that makes it theirs, and that would be a win for me. And I think that is why Kaizen's been like we're 11 years old, and that's why we went here from here. It wasn't just a fly-by-night. It was a constant evolutionary process.
And the adding of value now, rather than stretching it over a period of time.
That makes no sense to me. That makes no sense to me, because I come from that entrepreneurial kind of a business kind of a thing.
It's a game. You need to put points on the board, and you need to put them now.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
It's a chase.
And one of the things Hannes also told me, obviously you can hear from my talking, he's one 100%. Of my biggest mentors. He 100%. Is the biggest mentor in my life. Yeah. One of the things he taught me is never sell your time. Never sell your time.
Sell your value.
Because sell your value.
Go
spend all your time learning. I've been studying for the last 11 years, and I'm constantly studying. There's no nutrition course or training course or high performance course
that you haven't done.
Coaching course that I haven't done.
100%.
And I've even flew to America to learn under the #1 coach in the world, to see how can I take, and I spend hundreds of thousands to do that, to see how I can take what he teaches people, it's the simplest things, and incorporate that with what we teach people.
Yeah.
So we've always been online, not because I wanted to have an online business or because I knew COVID was coming.
Nobody knew COVID was coming.
It was because I always wanted to package what I present to people in a way that they can make it theirs in their own environment. And during COVID, we launched new content, new courses, because we kind of recognized
there was
that
a
people
new
are
need.
changing.
There was a new need, 100%.
Absolutely, people are changing. There's things happening. And we are now launching a new product again, because the way people consume has changed so much. And you have to keep evolving, because if you want to add value to people, you also need to understand the way that they consume content.
What is it that you need to add? How and when? Because if you're not reaching them at the point where they absolutely need you now, you're not going to make an impact. And if you don't make an impact, you're not going to have a true business that is embedded to the point where you are absolutely needed in the marketplace, which I feel you really are, because you add value into the lives of so many people, and you do it now. It's not stretched. I mean, I had 2 sessions with you, 90 minutes each, course corrected. That area of my life, my tempo is solved.
Done.
For the most part, it's solved.
Done.
It still comes out, but I catch myself, boom, back to.
But that's what it's about. It's about catching yourself. It's about stepping back.
100%.
It's not about being perfect, because no one's perfect.
It's
about the pursuit to becoming, or not even becoming. It's about the pursuit to allowing who you really are to just get out and to stop standing in your own way.
And having the discipline to catch that area that bothers you or that is a negative, and just course correct.
Absolutely.
So, I've got a question for you.
Yes.
Landmine. I call them landmines. A mistake or something that you wish you didn't do. You stepped on it, boom, it blew a little bit of your foot off, but you're still here. But perhaps if you could share, and the audience can learn from that landmine that you stepped on. Is there one? Is there 2? Is there one that you're comfortable sharing?
A landmine, there's obviously been a few, but for me, because I'm always asking myself, what have you learned? What can you take from this? How are you going forward? It did blow me up a bit, but it was also one of the most incredible experiences of my life. I started training, I started adding value, I started my business, I did very, very well, and it started pushing harder, doing heavier weights, more. And I didn't know it at that stage, but I had a genetic issue with both my shoulders, and I was pushing harder and harder and harder, and I started feeling pain in my shoulders, and I just pushed through it. Because at that stage, I was
It's
still
normal.
in my 20s, or like no pain, no gain,
Yeah.
you know. And guys, if you've got pain, stop. Your
That's
pain
great
is trying
advice.
to. Your pain is telling you something.
Yeah.
I was exercising, and afterwards I was in such pain. I went to a chiropractor.
Okay.
And he was, knocking my rug and doing all kinds of
Pulling
weird
you
things
around,
and
yeah.
pulling me around. And he lifted both my arms and he pushed them back, and he pushed both my arms out of their sockets.
Wow.
Because they were literally held on
By a
by
thread.
a thread, both my shoulders. And the one that got hurt the most was this one. And I went to a specialist. The specialist said, you know what, first of all, lift your arms. And when I lifted my arms were like, clack, clack, clack. It's like, are you doing this? Like, this is not normal. Are you doing this? Is this this just happened? Just do it again. And he says, no, stop doing that. I'm like, I'm not doing anything. He says, lift it again, clack, clack. And he's like, okay, no, wait, stop. Like, lower your arms. Let's get scans, x-rays, the whole works. I got it, went back into his office, and he's like, a cuddler's there with me. He's like, I have to talk to you. Like, you look amazing. I know you train a lot. I know what you do for a living.
You have to course correct.
But you're going to have to find a new job. You're not going to be able to do this ever again. Like,
Ever again.
You'll never be able to train again. You will never be able to lift anything again. Like, you are in very, very bad shape. Like, we're going to have to go in for emergency surgery, which has got about a 60% chance of success, because they have to take things out of my legs, put it into my shoulders. And I asked him, but why? Like, what did I do wrong? Because obviously you ask yourself, what did I do wrong? Because I was under the impression I was taking care of myself. He says, no, it had nothing to do with your training. That was actually what saved you.
Okay.
Because of the strength in your body, because of the strength in your shoulders, your muscles, your back. That is what held you together as long as it did.
So did you have to go
There
through
was a
the
genetic.
surgery?
I actually didn't.
Okay.
We have a very, very good medical aid.
Okay.
And at that stage, they had to ask for permission for the surgery. And this has never happened before, and it never happened after that specific day. But there was a delay, a miscommunication, and then that surgery permission for the surgery didn't come in that day.
Okay.
So it took 24 hours. And
Okay.
then the next day, it gave me time to sit back and go like, is this what I want? And my wife said, okay, let's get a second opinion. Like, this guy, great, but let's get a second opinion. Because remember now, I'm in my 20s, I'm starting this career, I'm doing well, I'm looking great, I'm feeling
This is a
strong.
big speed
and
bump,
suddenly
you don't wanna go over,
someone
yeah.
tells you, like, whatever you thought your future looked like that's done. That is not going to be your future. You're not going to train anymore. This is not what you're going to do anymore. And especially in your 20s,
No. That's
losing
bad
that
news.
physical ability
Horrible.
to push yourself, for me, that was very, very bad news. I got a second opinion, and eventually we got to a high performance center, and they said, oh no, this is a genetic thing. A lot of people have this. In your shoulders, there's a little bit issue with a blade, and we can teach your body to accommodate for it.
Okay.
It's going to be work
But
for
we can.
the rest of your life, but we can do this. You do not have to stop doing what you're doing.
So I think the landmine here is, if you're pushing through pain, just make sure that the end goal is worth the pain, which yours, I believe, although it was, because it's
Yeah.
an interesting dynamic. If you caught it earlier, maybe the difficult part was just a quick fix. Boom, boom, boom.
Yes,
Fix
yeah.
it and course correct and go. All right,
It was,
awesome.
but because I was doing what I did, because I had the strength in my body, I did. The process afterwards was a lot easier, because I could teach my body to accommodate so much faster, because
Yeah.
I had the strength there.
Yeah.
So it was almost like it happened at the perfect time.
Okay.
If it happened earlier, I would have been through a much lengthier process.
And
in terms
perhaps
of,
had that surgery, which would have been detrimental to your career. Our next question. The 3 most influential people in your life and the area that they most influenced you in to course correct.
This is a very tough question, because I've had so many people in my life that has taught me different things. Like even people at that stage I did not like.
You learn a lot more from people you don't like and don't like you than from people that like you.
And it's not
100%.
because they don't like you, it's because you ask yourself, but like why am I relating to this? Why am I taking this on? You don't know it from yourself. But one of the first people that is Mario from like when I was a kid.
As a waiter, as the person
as a table
cleaning the
cleaner.
table, yeah.
He was one of the biggest mentors in my life to start out. Like that was the first example I had of the kind of person I wanted to be.
I think because of the way he presented himself,
Absolutely.
the way he took care of himself
Absolutely.
and his girlfriend or wife at the time. Okay, who's the second one?
Second one is my father-in-law.
Okay.
Hannes Dreyer. This guy he's a force of nature.
Yeah, he is.
He is incredible, and what I love about him the most is he's not easy on me. Like he can be.
It's
such
his
an
job.
asshole.
He's your father-in-law. He should
Sometimes,
never be on.
You know, and that's one of the things I really respected about him, or respect about him the most, is he's never treated me like a victim. He's never treated me like a 20-something guy that doesn't know where he's going. He's always treated me like someone who's got this.
Yeah.
He's always treated me with respect. I remember a story about him. I only heard this a long time afterwards, but one of the people in my family came to him the day I married his daughter, Carla.
Okay.
And I remember this is this incredibly rich guy, successful guy,
Yeah.
and at that stage I was trying to become this fitness coach and health coach and wellness coach, and that was still like a very long time ago.
10, 11 years ago.
That was a very long time ago. And this person in my family felt so insecure in themselves, they made excuse for me, saying, I'm so sorry that your incredible daughter is marrying someone that is very fired up and very passionate, but he's not a lawyer or a doctor and I heard the story afterwards.
What
and
did he say to
my
them?
father-in-law, he stopped and he said, you've got no idea who he is. You've got no idea.
Beautiful.
Who he is. Because, and that is also, remember, that is one of the most truthful things that could ever be, because you don't even know who you are. Like that voice that talks to you every time you want to do something, you get in your own way. That voice is based on everything that you've done to that point. But I mean, you can stand up or sit down.
100%.
Like you can do whatever you want in any moment.
You've got no idea who he is. Speaks more about him than the people that spoke to him, because he saw the potential. He knows.
Absolutely.
You're a young guy. You're fired up. You can't teach fire. I can't teach somebody coming in how to be excited and passionate.
Yes.
I can teach him strategy.
Yeah.
I can teach him a strategic course that will assess where you are weak and how to get stronger in that area, whether it's communication, whether it's software, whatever it is. But I can't teach him fire, and I think he saw the fire in you.
I can give you the techniques to take control of your temper, but unless you're going to do it, it's not going to do anything. You have to be willing to do it.
Yeah.
You have to have that fire. You have to want it.
100%.
And the third person, there's so many, but I love reflecting on my own life.
Okay.
And sometimes I put myself in a position 10 years from now, and I have a session with myself.
Okay.
This is
The 10-year version of
weird.
No, it's not weird at all.
And
I
then
do it as well.
I talk to myself, and I'm like, okay, but is this what you want? Is this where you're going? This is the advice I would give myself if I already had what I think I want.
Okay.
That kind of thing. So the third most influential person in my life is the person I want to become.
100%.
If
Having
that
that
makes sense.
conversation with, I see myself as Bobby walking in, running a dealership that does 1,000 cars. Like, how does he walk?
Yeah.
Does he still have that little bit of a belly on him? Does
No.
he? Does he?
You should do.
Does he still, speak to people the same way? Does he still notice, like, very fine details? Does he notice more details? So the third person is the future better version of yourself. I love it. Awesome.
Absolutely.
Best advice you ever received? Best advice.
The
One
best
liner.
advice that is also everything I teach people
Best
is
advice.
you matter. Who you become matters. You need to buy into who you are. Don't try and be someone else.
Okay.
Because you can't win at being someone else. And no one will bet against you if you know who you are. No one can bet against you if you know who you are. Just be yourself. Be 100% yourself, and understand that that's a ever-evolving process.
Best advice you could give people?
Same.
Beautiful.
And when you hear someone
so.
says be yourself, they automatically assume, oh, but I'm kind of a couch potato. I don't train. I'm just going to love myself the way I am. No, that's not what I mean by be yourself.
No.
What I mean by be yourself is figure out who you are.
Yeah.
What do you want?
If
What
you're a couch
drives you?
potato, be a couch potato.
And look,
If that makes you happy, be that person. But if it
I
doesn't,
doubt
figure out who you are and pursue that person.
Exactly, and that is what I mean by figure out what you want. And with it's the end of 2021, we're going into 2022. A lot of people come to me randomly, say, like, Jacque, you're the coaching guy, you know. What do I need to do next year to reach this level of success? And I just do my course. Like, that's the short answer.
Yeah.
But the truth is, that is not
process.
where you start. Like, my best advice for someone starting 2022 wanting to improve their life is sit down and figure out who you are. Figure out where you want to go, and figure out why. What does it mean to you? Why do you want to get there?
Yeah.
You know, you might think you want to be rich. You get there and you're miserable. You actually want to be someone that has just enough money to survive, but there's other things that's more important to you. And you need to be all in on that. If that makes sense. Like, figure out who you are and then go for it.
I truly know a whole lot of rich, unhappy people. And I know a lot of like middle income, extremely happy people. So money is not the answer to happiness. I fully agree with you there. If you could spend one day with anybody, dead or alive, who would it be and why? One day.
I know the right answer here would be to give you a name of some profound teacher or something.
The right answer is your That's the right answer.
But for me, that changes every day who I would want to spend time with, because I also got to a stage, because I do what I do, is if you are at a level 2 business and you've got this issue and you think, I want to spend a day with Bezos, you know, like, he might not be able to teach you anything.
Agreed.
Because he's at a level where you won't speak his language.
Agreed.
He'll speak over you. Like, go for the next level. Go for someone that has just overcome the thing that you are busy trying to overcome.
Who's the person? You have to give me an answer. Who's the person?
Again, it depends on which area of your life you are talking about. In terms of the way you guys have built your brand, like, I would want to spend a day with you.
Okay.
But not based on what I can do for you, but just to be like a fly on the wall, to see how you manage and employ people. Because, I mean, I don't have 240, how many?
224.
224.
As of
224
today.
people working for you in a way that is truly successful. Like, if you build a business, for me, scaling a business, like, that would be an issue, and I would go to someone that is accessible to me, that has overcome that issue, and a successful way to learn from.
100%. So I've got a similar take on that question. And who would I want to spend a day with if I'm trying to improve my marriage? Somebody obviously who's successful in their marriage. Yeah. If I'm in a position where I need to improve my income, I can't go to the guy that teaches me about faith to teach me about income, because the income guy, but again, I can't speak to the guy that's going to talk over me because we don't speak the same language. The guy, I think income differs, because income, I really like to, you know, stretch far and wide and speak to that billionaire that I've got access to. After a good month, I phone him up. This is our net profit for the month. He's like, awesome. How do you double that? I'm like, geez. He's like, is that great? I'm like, is that good in your world? I'm like, geez, you know, I think I'm a rock star, and you're asking me if that's good in my world. It's freaking good.
Like, what world are you?
Like, how do you double that? What do you need to do to achieve this number? Like, that's a freaking awesome question. I'll come back to you. Bye.
That guy is an incredible coach.
100%.
You know the answer to that. He doesn't know the answer to you.
Well, I don't know the answer to that, but I know that through figuring out more problems within the business, I'll find the answer to that.
And that's 100%. The thing. You are the only one. So you don't necessarily have to have the confidence in yourself to have all the answers. But what high-performing kind of people always have is their confidence in their ability to get there,
Yeah, 100%.
to figure it out.
I'll
to
figure it
learn,
out. It's
to
not a
grow.
problem. It's going to take 17 books. It's going to take 20
Yes.
hours of research on how to fix this one area, and then we'll
But
get
sometimes you need that guy to put that mirror up and say, oh, is that good in your world?
Yeah.
Like, how do you double that?
That hits
What
me
is the
like a
next
train
level?
every time. He says it to me every time I phone him after a win.
There you
And
go.
I don't get scared after a loss. I think people need to realize that loss is part of the process, how you grow, how you become better. I always get scared after a win. That freaks me out.
Yeah.
I hit a record, I'm petrified.
No.
I'm petrified. 2 months ago, we broke a massive record. I didn't sleep. I'm borderline shivering. How am I gonna do better?
Yeah.
And when he says to me, "Is that good in your world?"
Yeah.
It's like, geez, okay.
Yeah.
Center myself. Why am I doing this? How am I gonna get to that number that he thinks I can't get to? I'm gonna show myself I'm gonna get to that number. Are you a car guy? I think you are a little bit.
I love cars.
A little bit.
I don't know enough about. I know enough about cars to kind of last me in a conversation for about a minute.
So you know enough about cars, or you know enough about me to buy cars from me. So I advise you on what a good car is.
That's with my previous car. We just came to you like, which one should we buy? That one? Okay, let's go. Get
Let's
that
go.
one. So
What's your dream car? Do you have a dream car? And what is your dream car?
yes, I absolutely love McLaren.
Oh wow.
There's just something about it. It's the art of putting that car together. Like
Yeah.
someone spending their entire life in pursuit to create that performance-driven piece of art.
Which
Like,
McLaren?
honestly, I'll start with the smaller one.
Yeah.
But I love all the McLaren cars. And again, I don't know enough about the different engine sizes and that kind of thing. But one of the things that I would love to do is McLaren has these almost every year. I don't think they did one. No, they did one last year. Next year, it's driving in the snow on the other side of the planet. You know,
Beautiful. You have to
for
do that.
4 or 5 days. And that, for me, like I would love to do that, have that experience with racing those cars and the most crazy situations you can imagine. So I love cars, but I love the performance and I love the art. And what I love about McLaren is, because I know a bit of their story, is the dedication and
To the pursuit of perfection.
and not just the dedication to the actual car, but the dedication to each person's own craft, designing that. So it's not just about the car; it's about the process
It's
to
a team
creating.
effort.
Oh, it's a beautiful.
Awesome.
It's a beautiful.
We've never had
beautiful
one
car.
at the dealership, but hopefully soon enough. We'll
I would love
definitely
that,
try.
yes.
I'm going to give you a call and give it to you for a day or two, and hopefully you never bring it back.
I won't.
Favorite book? Now, I know it's a difficult. If you ask me my favorite book, it's probably my favorite book of this week, because every time I grab a book and it changes my life, I present it to this is the best book ever. That's how I sell it. Ever. Like, is it better than the last one, which was the best book ever? Yes. 10 times. Let's do this book. But favorite book, if you take a step back to say, if I could read one book only, which one would it be? Only one.
Oh, that's a tough question. Isn't it awesome that when you read books or when you listen to audiobooks, they always come at the right time? That's why that's the best one.
That's when you're ready for the problem.
It
Yeah.
came at the perfect time. I've got what I do is, if I read an amazing book, I always get the hard copy and I get the audio version
Audible,
as well.
yeah. Me too. I love
because
that.
I love going back to books. I've got a favorites list on my phone of about 154 books, I think.
Wow, okay.
Which is my
need to up my game.
favorite books. But those are the really nuggets, the ones that I've learned the most
Which one is the
from.
best one?
I'm going to give you two.
Okay.
I'm going to give you three.
Okay.
The first one that challenged me the most, it really challenges me, is the Bible. Like that challenges me, because there's a lot of questions you ask, there's a lot of things you're unsure of, and you figure things out. So I have to put that out there. That is the book that really challenges me the most and teaches me the
Because it challenged you.
Yes.
Okay.
But then just normal books. One of the books that I love going back to, I go back to this book at least once every 3 months, is Earl Nightingale's The Greatest Secret.
The Greatest Secret, yes.
You are what you think. Like, just that, what you think about, that's who you are. Like,
Yeah.
and that's also something we teach people is design your physical, emotional, mental environment to align with who you want to be. Because what you think about, what you put in your life, you speak about this a lot, your top 5 people. It's not just your
100%.
top 5 people, it's all your input. Like, show me your friends, show me the books you read, show me the movies you watch, show me the music you listen to, you know, and I will with some exceptions, but I'll show you your tomorrow.
Fairly accurately.
Very accurately.
Your next
accurately.
version of who you're going to become.
there
What's
you
the
go.
third book?
The third book is Ochmandino's The Greatest Salesman.
Okay.
And to me, this is such a beautiful, easy read. It's a very small book. It takes you about an hour.
Okay.
I do this, I read, or I go through I've got the audio version as well. I go through this book at least once every 2, 3, 4 weeks, at least. Like, it's a quick 1 hour book. But what it teaches is it's got 10 scrolls, and the very first scroll is create habits that serve you and become their slave.
And become their slave.
Become their slave.
Create
You will be a
habits
slave.
that
You
serve
will
and
be a
become
slave
their
of your
slave.
habits. People living unconsciously, and that's high performance. Consciously create the habits that align with where you want to go to, and become those habits slave. And that's why it's not just good enough to be grateful. Have a practice.
Have a physical practice.
physical
Take
practice.
5 minutes and consciously think about what's
Physically, emotionally, spiritually, mentally, every area of your life, have practices that ground you to remind you who you want to work towards becoming.
Yeah.
It's
And be their slave.
be conscious and be those practices, because you're going to be a slave to some habits.
Of course.
Choose your habits.
Yeah, of course. And being a slave is not a negative thing when it leads to positive results.
And there you go.
100%.
There you go.
Okay. What's coming up next? You mentioned new courses.
Yeah.
Very exciting. Where can people reach you directly? Where can people reach you in terms of, what sort of course would you recommend for a person just starting out into how do I improve my physical appearance? How do I improve my emotional wellness, as well as my, how do I start on following you? Where do I start? And what is the progression of courses that you would recommend to the viewers?
Definitely, I would recommend our full course, the Kaizen Wellness method, because
One course.
that's where you want to start, because that will form the foundation of all the other areas, and we will go to from there. Because remember, if you start a training practice and you think that's going to be it for the rest of your life, you're missing the point.
Yeah.
The idea is to build a foundation, start the process, and figure out what you love. What do you like? What don't you like? Me doing weight training, that might not be right for you.
Yeah.
You need to fall in love with a practice,
Of course.
and a movement practice that is maintainable for you in the area of your life or the time in your life that you're in. And it also speaks to nutrition. But Bobby, nutrition and training, if it was that simple, everyone would look and feel amazing.
Yeah.
That's the easy part, the tough part, and this is where Kaizen shines, and this is why I've dedicated the last 10 years of my life, is you'll have one person on a program doing well, someone else on a program failing horribly. Why? What makes people successful? What drives people? How do you get people to motivate themselves? How do you get people to, because it's easy to show up to the gym when someone's waiting for you.
Yeah.
It's easy, but how do you become accountable to yourself?
Yeah.
How do you understand that you training is good for you? How do you understand you taking care of yourself is good for you? It's that whole question of value and cost. A lot of people say, I can't, it costs too much to be healthy. Training an hour a day, but do you have 5 minutes?
What
It
is the
costs
value
too
there?
much to eat healthy and say no to bad things. I say tongue-in-cheek again, bad things, because we don't believe in bad food. You eat for pleasure or you eat for performance. And
Yeah.
there's no such thing. I love chocolate. I love eating takeaways in moderation. And then the course also speaks, like I said, heavily towards the coaching side. That's about 90%, if not more, of the coaching of why people reach success. It's because they ask those hard questions. Imagine spending time in your ear every day, 5, 10, 15 minutes, answering the question, what do I want? Where am I going? Why do I want this? How do I set up my day for success today? Have I done my breath work practice? Have I consciously made the choice of the person I want to be or show up as when I work, when I get to the gym, am I living consciously Imagine the impact that could have if you did that for 12 weeks. And that is why people, after they've done the course, they go, wow, that changed my life. And it's not me changing their life. It's a proven curriculum of you getting to know yourself in a way that you become accountable to yourself and also become responsible for your own success.
100%.
So that I would definitely start with the course. Do the course.
Do the course, and where do they find it? Online. You can purchase the course online, and you do it online.
Yes, our next launch is next year, the 26th of January. You can find us on Facebook, Kaizen Wellness, and you can just search South Africa's #1 transformation company. You'll find us.
100%. Thank you. I mean, the last, 90 minutes we've spent with each other, I've just taken in more and more and more and more, and I hope you guys have as well. So, I'm going to end off this sit down the way that I started it. I've got a high performance coach, an entrepreneur, a father, and just an alpha male in each and every field of his life. Thank you very much for sharing your time and your wisdom with us, and it was awesome. We all learned a lot. Thank you, sir.
Huge pleasure, Bobby. Thank you.
Have a power day.
I will. Thank you. You too.